What's up, guys? It's your girl Kia, and I'm back for another video. And you know me, I don't record unless I'm moved about something, and I'm definitely moved about this John Davidson situation. For those of you all who don't know, I'm just going to dive right in. John Davidson is a campaigner and an activist for people who have Tourette syndrome. He had a film made about him called I Swear that got rave reviews and was nominated for a BAFTA award for, I think it was Best Actor for Robert Aramayo, who played Davidson in the film. While he was at the BAFTAs, because he has Tourette's, he inadvertently blurted out the N-word while Michael B. Jordan and Delroy Lindo were on stage. And those two men, being the ultimate professionals, kept going, kept moving. But the BAFTAs decided not to bleep it out, and it went across the world, not only disrespecting John Davidson, but also disrespecting Delroy Lindo and Michael B. Jordan. And we have to talk about this because John Davidson has issued an apology. Alan Cummings has put out an apology on his behalf, and I think they're both a joke. People keep saying that you want John Davidson to apologize for having Tourette's and apologize for being disabled, like you're such an ableist and all this kind of stuff. And the real answer is no. Nobody is wanting him to do that. All people are asking for John Davidson to do is acknowledge that what came out of his mouth, whether it was inadvertent or not, hurt somebody's feelings. That's it. And as a special needs mom of a special needs adult now, because he's 20, I've had these situations happen. I just had this happen this past Sunday. And my son didn't do it on purpose. He thought he was, I don't think he thought he was doing the right thing because I think he knew he was going to get in trouble because when he saw me pull up in the driveway, because I had already heard about it from the neighbor. It's a whole situation. But you do have to acknowledge that what inadvertently came out of your mouth hurt somebody. And that is okay. That's not apologizing for your disability because we understand. No one thinks you're making up having Tourette syndrome because SNL had this I say it's an inappropriate skit. Because in response to the incident, Saturday Night Live performed a sketch entitled Tourette's, where several celebrities considered problematic, including Mel Gibson, J.K. Rowling, Bill Cosby, were portrayed attributing their harmful behavior to Tourette syndrome. Tourette's Action CEO Emmett McNally, among others, criticized the sketch for mocking a disability. They're right. That was mocking the disability. We all know those people don't have Tourette's. So I get that. We all know John Davidson has Tourette's. But the other part that keeps being forgotten about is that he said the N-word more than once. He also said it to Sinner's production designer. I think her name is Hannah Beachler. So here's what she wrote. I keep trying to write about what happened at the BAFTAs and I can't find the words. Beachler, who won the Oscar for Black Panther, wrote on X after the ceremony. The situation is almost impossible, but it happened 3 times that night, and one of the 3 times was directed at myself on the way to dinner after the show. So he repeatedly said the N-word to Black people, which makes me wonder, because I'm going to try to explain this the best way that I can and how it makes sense to me. When you have Tourette's, specifically the type that he has, you inadvertently things that you know you shouldn't say, so you say it. But don't these words have to sometimes be in your psyche, be in your mind in some type of way for you to blurt them out? I mean, it's not like he was looking at white people and calling them a slur or some kind of negative remark, or looking at women and calling them the C word. But specifically when it came to Black people, he's saying the N word. That is odd for me. I'm sorry, but it is. And I'm human. I'm allowed to say that because also when Alan Cummings is on stage, and we'll talk about Alan Cummings' apology for him. Alan Cummings, he just screamed out, "Hey," over and over again, just screaming out, "Hey." And it did get to the point where Davidson just decided to leave because he realized that he was becoming a distraction because of the outburst that, of course, he cannot control. We understand that. But again, we're allowed to have that conversation of it's odd that he looks at Black people and he's saying the N-word, but he's seeing Alan Cumming on stage and he's not calling him the F word. Because I think he's a gay man, but I'm just saying he could have called him the F word. He could have looked at one of the women on stage and called them the C word. If it was a variety of different types of slurs, I would be even more just like, oh my God, John, I'm so sorry for you. I think this is awful. Whatever. This shouldn't have happened. I'm so sorry for you. But it's just because you are saying the N-word to Black people and Black people only, which what makes it suspicious to me. So John excuse me, not John, but Alan Cummings did get on stage and try to issue an apology, and Davidson also issued apology. And here's what John said. I wanted to thank BAFTA and everyone involved in the awards last night for the support and understanding in inviting me to attend the broadcast, Davidson said in the statement. I appreciate the announcement to the auditorium in advance of the recording, warning everyone that my tics are involuntary and are not a reflection of my personal beliefs. I was heartened by the round of applause that followed this announcement and felt welcome and understood in an environment that would normally be impossible for me. And they should have made that announcement. That announcement makes sense. Totally get it. And then as soon as the announcement is made, the awards start, you scream out he screams out the N-word, which is it's just unfortunate that it happened to these two black men. He goes on to say, in addition to the announcement by Alan Cummings, the BBC and BAFTA, I can only add that I am and will always be deeply mortified if anyone considers my involuntary tics to be intentional or to carry any meaning. And if that's how you feel, you should have given an apology to those two black men and the woman who's the set designer for Sinners. That's what you should have done. But like, listen, I am so sorry. This is involuntary. I don't mean any of this. And that would have gone over a lot better. But the indignant response that we're getting from John, like, how dare you ask me to apologize? Well, sir, you said something messed up. Like, you should have with having this disease, I feel like you should have a tiny bit of accountability of I should go up or I should say somebody, I didn't mean to say that. Can't help it. Didn't mean to say it. I hope you're not offended. I'm not doing it to offend you. I think you're awesome. Something like that. Something like that would have gone a long way in this situation. So that's really my thoughts on this with that. Now, when it comes to the actual BAFTA awards, not bleeping it out, you embarrassed John. You embarrassed Delroy Lindo and Michael B. Jordan when you did not have to. Warner Brothers asked you to take it out. There was a 2 hour delay. None of this would have happened if you just would have bleeped it out. It wouldn't have been like this. You bleeped out the speech for Palestine, so why not bleep out this? And let me just pull up one more thing because I think he actually did issue another apology that was even more kind of I don't have to than it was before. But I'm gonna pull it up. There we go. Let's see what it says. Wait, wait. Maybe it's not an apology. Maybe I just need to put in statement. I just want to see the statement. Let's see. Nope, that's not it. Nope, that's not it either. There was an additional statement that he made, basically saying that sorry, not sorry. I have tics and this is just what it is. And I'm not apologizing anymore. But I'm not going to keep going on and on about this. You guys know my thoughts. Drop it in the comments if you agree. So let me tell you about what my son did, just so people have an idea. There's drama going on in our neighborhood, like pretty serious. The cops had to get called drama, not with me and my neighbor, but actually me and my husband, but actually with our neighbor. And we knew about it. My husband were talking about it and how it should be handled. Well, I found out from another neighbor that my son decided he would take it upon himself to go try to comfort the women who had this happen to them. It is not his place. The women didn't want anybody to know, but here comes my son to go comfort them and have conversation. And this sent the woman next door very, very angry that my son even knew about it and was very upset that he knew about it and was talking about it. So I had to go calm him down. And I had to talk to him and say, you can't be in these people's conversation. That's not appropriate. It's not. This is not something where you need to do. And he said, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. I thought it was okay, but why is it not okay? Because it's none of your business. You can't go around telling other people's business. I don't think he meant any harm. I think he thought what he was doing was right. The way his brain works is with somebody with mosaic Down syndrome, kind of like autism. He has a hard time processing information of what he can and cannot do. Doesn't make him a bad person, but I absolutely said you need to go apologize. That is not how we behave. That's not what we do. So that was my situation. Just want to bring that up, but. Drop them in the comments. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know how you feel about, John Davidson, the situation, the BAFTAs, anything. I'm interested to hear other people's thoughts. And I will see you in the next video. Bye.